and welcome to the Everyday Board Game Podcast with Daniel.
And Daniel.
Daniel, I feel like we should really get in the habit of recording that intro instead of saying it every time.
Yeah, it would be nice, but then the life people wouldn't get to enjoy the Daniel and Daniel banter.
Well, we can spruce it up with like some cool like music and stuff. I mean, we do have music that we add into it. Maybe I can find a way to like cue it up, get one of those control boards, where you hit some
Hey,
buttons.
hey, hey, let's not make my editing any harder than it is. I'm self-taught, all right?
Well, I mean, no, I can't imagine it'd be that difficult to say, "Hey, and everybody, welcome." Click. Plays sound. It's science. It's fine. It's not difficult.
Sure, if you say so.
So, Daniel, I'm actually really excited about this week, and not because of I'm excited about the topic, but it's weird, and I'll explain why. But we always agreed that we didn't want to do one of the generic topics like, "Oh, what's your favorite worker placement? What's your favorite this?" But
Yeah.
but this is right on the line where it meets our strangeness. We asked the audience very specifically what.
What is your favorite game from your favorite designer?
That's right. That doesn't necessarily mean what's your favorite game of all time,
Yeah.
because well,
Case in point, Gloomhaven is not on my list. I've only played two different Gloomhaven games, Jaws of the Lion and regular Gloomhaven. I haven't
yeah,
played Founder, so I don't know his other style of games.
right. So you couldn't say that Isaac Childress is your favorite designer because
He designed my
no.
favorite game, but I haven't tried more than one of his designs.
And see, I'm the same way. Klaus Jurgen Reed designed Carcassonne, which is my favorite game still. And yeah, it's not on there. But I feel like you're going to be surprised with some of these. We decided that we're going to go with a little bit of a game. We're gonna Well, we list off our designer. I did pick eight of my favorite designers. I'm not
I
going to
did
say that.
pick 8 of my favorite designers. One is a bit cheaty. We'll get there in a minute.
Yeah, mine. I put specifically if I put eight designers and my favorite game from those eight designers, and they are easily within my top like 10 to 15 designers. There's
But
a
yeah, they're
few.
up there. This was a little bit more difficult for me.
Uh-huh.
Just because, even though I was the one that picked the topic, it's just like I like that game, but I've never played another game that he's made. I love that game. I've never played another game that he's played.
Right. Yeah,
So
and we've had a discussion of our top eight designers before, I believe.
not
And,
like designers, but we talked who our favorite have been. But I don't think we've ever talked about our top 8 favorite.
right. So this
We've
was
talked
interesting.
about a dream team with our favorite designers.
That's true. That's true. Yeah. Or who we think that would be perfect pairing. But we never
Hmm.
actually talked about who our favorite designers are and
Yeah.
why. And I think it's going to be interesting. I'm going to try and have you guess like a few designers and see how many you get right. Because I'm just
Hey,
curious.
hey, hey! That wasn't a plan. There, it was just you're going to tell me the designer. I guess the game.
Okay. All right. That's fair. That's fair. But I think you'll be surprised. And I don't have mine in any particular order. But
I have mine. My order is. Let me look at this real quick. I think is uh it's all my favorite designers. I think it's where I rank the games per se. Especially when I get into the top 4. These are like some of my favorite games of all time, and these are where I rank the game itself in the top 4. The bottom 4 is one I wanted to talk about something a little different, even though one of them is one I've talked about a lot. But the more and more I think upon them, I really like these other games.
gotcha. Yeah, that makes sense. Very cool. Well, before we get into our audience members, what have you been playing lately, Daniel?
So I got to play 4 games last week, and I was quite happy about it. Mind you, 2 of them I've talked about quite a bit before, so I'm not going to go into too much depth about them. But the first one being Aquatica. Actually, got to play it again. Played it this time with the king cards. This way, I both times I played it. I didn't play with it with those. I just wanted to see how the mechanism itself works before I add anything else to it. This time I played it with the kings, and doesn't change it too much. It makes it a little easier to get 8 cards in your hand to get that one goal, but other than that, it plays just as quickly. It plays really well. It's real simple card play and boosting of the abilities and stuff like that. Like I've said before, I'm really excited for the expansion to be released in America. I just give me more of that, and I'll be happy. This game is it's easily climbing one of my favorite games I've played so far.
Very cool. Yeah, that sounds like good fun. I can't wait till I play that the next time. I'm looking forward to it hugely.
Hugely.
Hugely. Yes.
It's gonna be spectacular.
It's gonna be huge. All right. Anyway, this isn't a political podcast. What are we talking about? All right. So I went to a blast to the past with my games lately. I actually played quite a bit more than 4, but I'm only going to talk about 4 today. I played a game.
Sounds good. We got 2 recordings to do today.
I know, right? The game I played most recently, I played it last night, from 1968. You're not going to guess it. It's fine, but you might be able to guess the designer.
Sid Saxon?
It is Sid Saxon, yes. And it's one of his bookshelf games called Bazaar.
Oh, I was going to say Acquire, so I would have been wrong.
Yeah, it would have been close, though. So Bazaar is a really weird game. It's kind of like Splendor in the idea
so
where...
you're saying it's bizarre.
It's a very bizarre game, yes. The idea is that you have these little cards that you're trying to buy, and they're little merchant cards, and they have 5 different colors on them. And they have combinations of either red, green, yellow, blue, or white. Okay?
Okay.
Then you have like these little tokens that look like Japanese money, like yen coins with the square circles in the middle, and they're the 5 different colors. On your turn, you can either roll a die and take one of the colors that it shows, or if you land on the choice space on the die, you pick any of your choice, or you can trade. And at the beginning of every game, you take 2 of these 10 cards that have random conversions. Like you might have a yellow equals 2 green, or you might have 2 blue, a white, and a yellow equals a red. And just these weird conversions. And it's not always beneficial to trade up to get more gems. So I might not want to trade my red for 2 green, a white, and a yellow, because when you buy one of these merchant cards that are available, you get points based on how many tokens you have remaining after you've spent those 5.
Okay.
So for example, if I buy one of those cards and I have 0 tokens left over, then I get 5 points. But if I have 1 token left over, I only have 3 points. 2 tokens is 2. 3 or more tokens is only 1 point for buying that card. So it's a game of efficiency. So you might find this endless loot combo where, oh, well, I can trade this for this, which gets rid of this token, and then now I have exactly what I need based on the cards that come up. It's really bizarre. It's not a math game, but you're converting these tokens into others. It's kind of like a currency exchange game, where it's I'm trading 3 yen for 6 rubles, and then this rubles will get me a penny and 3, I don't know, gold nuggets. I don't know. It's weird, but I absolutely adore it. It's a really fun game, and we had a blast playing it. That was Bazaar by Sid Saxon.
Interesting. Yeah, I haven't heard about that one. I only know about it because you have those 3M bookshelf games. And you have them literally sitting up on your bookshelf in your living room. So
based on that description, I mean, it's something like Splendor meets weird conversions. Is that something that sounds even interesting to you?
Not in the slightly.
Okay. I didn't think so, but that's why I asked before I would bring it over,
Yeah, no, that's just not something I would enjoy playing. I mean, I would try it just to try it, but it's just not something up my alley.
Yeah, that's fine.
So my next game on the list is the other one that I've talked about a lot, so I'm not going to go in too much depth about it, but another game that I've played recently this week is Carcassonne. It's still one of the simplest games to bust out, whether you're playing solo or with a group or over Zoom to play. It's just card play, you get to draw, you get to color. It's very cathartic. I have to say, it's probably one of my go-to, if I just need to relax and calm down after playing a big game, this is what I go to because it's so simple, so clean. And again, I'm really excited for the stuff that's going to be coming in later this year. I should get it about June or July, depending on if they get it shipped out, because it's supposed to be coming with Role Player Adventures as well. So we'll see when I get it, but I'm looking forward to it. but I'm also enjoying playing the copy that I have. So
Very cool.
Photographers.
Good choice. The next game that I played is kind of a weird one. Also a little old, 1998, I believe, is when it came out. And that is Guillotine.
Oh,
And
yeah, you talk about this one a lot.
yeah,
Not here, but
not here, but and the reason it prompted that me to play it is I ended up picking up a second copy of it from a local bookstore that was selling it at a pretty good deal. And a mutual friend of ours, Jim, he had never played it, or he has played it in the past, but his mom hasn't. So when she came over to play Pandemic Legacy, we're like, well, we have some extra time. Let's just bust out Guillotine. Oh man, I forget how good that game is. It's so good. That's it. If Paul Peterson made my list for favorite designers, that would be my favorite game from him easily.
yeah, he didn't make my list either.
Yeah, it's a very simple game. It's you have a line of cards that are worth varying amounts of points. You're trying to manipulate the line the best you can because at the end of the turn, you take whatever card is at the front of the line, basically chop their head off, and that's how many points they're worth. The more important the person is, the more points. So it's so ridiculous, but it's super silly. It's worth every penny if you have a chance to pick it up and are okay with some very light humor. I mean the
Very
worst
dark humor.
it's taken very lightly. I mean it never
I know, but it's still dark humor. I'm sorry, you're executing people.
The worst card that's in there is the Fountain of Blood, where it's just worth 2 extra points. Because there's a Fountain of Blood, because that's great. Yeah, it's silly, but I love that game a lot. Guillotine from Wizards of the Coast.
Nice. So my next game on my list here is actually something new, something I haven't talked about, sort of. And this one is Century Golem Eastern Mountain.
Yeah.
I haven't played the Eastern Mountain version before. I have played the Century Spice World Eastern Wonders, I think is what it's called. Version. It took a bit to remember how to play. It's a very simple pick up and deliver, where you're either trying to convert your dice, but you need a trading post there before your gems. You need a trading post there before you can get those said gems. You're moving around the board trying to meet the village's requirements. This way you can get your points through there. Really phenomenal. Plays really quickly. Had a good time. I still think I like the first one better. I need to play the third one again to really decide which century I like the most. But I just really love the Golem editions just because how beautiful they are. Now, I do have to say this about the rule book about Century Golem Eastern Mountains. There are some issues on there with the translations and the turnover into Century Golem edition rather than Spice Road. So like there's a point where it tells you to harvest, and then when they go into breakdown, it's actually called mining, because in Spice Road, it's harvesting the resources, the spices. Where in this one, you're mining the gems. Though I do really enjoy it. Had a great time playing it. Glad I own it. I still prefer the Golem editions over the Century Spice Road editions. And I still need to get the third one. It's on my to-do list. It's something to get. I really enjoy it.
You know, that actually leads an interesting question. Century Spice Road, that's kind of like the deck building version of Bazaar, what I was talking about earlier. Yeah, like that's actually very reminiscent of it because you're converting spices into spices or gems into gems.
Yeah, but it probably doesn't play as simple as it does.
It's simpler, but I don't know if it hurts your brain way more. Equal signs work both ways. So yeah. But that's a good one. I like that. My next one, you are going to be kind of jealous of. I got to play Viscounts of the West Kingdom.
It's Viscounts.
No, I played Viscounts though, specifically that edition with the non-silent S. No, it's Viscounts of the West Kingdom.
No, I am a little jealous about that. How is it?
It's okay.
Still prefer Paladins?
Yeah, easily. Because in Viscounts, you have a lot of interesting things going, but it's mainly a deck building game. I do like how you're basically building like a tableau of a deck builder. And what I mean by that is you always have 3 cards available, and those are the ones you can use. But out of those 3 cards that are there, at the beginning of your turn, one falls off. another card. You play another card from your hand, and then those are the abilities, the symbols you can use for whichever action you use. It works pretty well overall. There was some confusion with some of the cards where some of them activate as soon as you play them. Some abilities activate when you buy the card, and some activate permanently while they're available face up, and then some only activate when they get discarded. and
That's a
and
lot to
Ray,
remember.
who's yeah, well, I mean they have symbology and it's not too bad, but there was often times where you catch yourself being thrown off a little bit. You play a card and you're like, oh wait, I can't use that ability right now because that's when it's discarded from the three cards. That's when you use like, oh wait, hold on, I forgot that. And it was a minor detail, but when you play the card, you move your Viscounts around to a certain spot. You take an action associated with that spot, or you take an action associated with one of the four choices that are available. Either like buying a book, sending people into castles, doing like conversions, like money bag conversions, trading, or buying other cards, or I'm sorry, building buildings. There's a lot of symbology as with all of the West Kingdom ones. So if you
I mean, it's a shim full of games. There's a lot of symbology regardless.
If that puts you off, then of course you won't like this one. This won't do anything new that will stop you from that. I'm no.
So
Nate,
our friend Nate has told Danny to shut up. It's not as bad as it seems.
And I'm not making it sound bad. I don't think. Like I'm not. I did have fun playing it. I did enjoy it. It is certainly better than Paladins. I'm sorry, not Paladin. Architects. It is easily my second favorite in the list, and I do like how that deck building works. I like having the three cards out there at all times. That's really cool. You're planning out your turns. Do I want to play this now, this later? So that's a really fun part of it. The only other gripe that I have with it is that there's little like strips of color down, like the little like banner flags that are on the books, and those are small tokens as they are. But they picked the right colors for like colorblind people like us. I think the colors are black, blue, yellow, and red, I want to say. And so I didn't personally have any problems with it. But you might, Daniel. So I mean, I would suggest you check it out. But overall, it was a pretty fun experience. I did like it. I would recommend it to, if you like the series already, you're gonna probably like this one as well.
Well, I'm gonna end up picking Viscounts anyways, just to finish off the series. I didn't get on the Kickstarter because there was a couple others going on at that time when it was out, because it was in the big, I think the March issue. So I was like in Frosthaven, and I think Ankh was going on at the same time.
Right.
So I was like, yeah, no, I can't really jump into all these Kickstarters. My wife would kill me. But no, I do want to pick it up. I'm looking at it, picking it up. Though I do have one complaint, and it's not about this. It just made me remember. I told you about me picking up, what is it, Through the Ages.
Yes.
It made me sticker pieces.
Yeah.
That drives me insane. It's like, just give me the sticker pieces already. Why do I got to do it? Just make me pay a little bit more for it already to be done. I got sausage fingers, and one of the stickers was literally, if I had it on the very edge of my fingertip, it would still take up half that sticker.
Yeah, that sounds about right.
So for my last game, and he's telling, Nate over here was telling you gray, black, blue, yellow.
Okay, cool. Yeah, no, they picked the right color scheme on.
Oh yeah, no, that sounds fine. So finally, for my last game that I played, and I had a great time with it. It's something that you don't enjoy, but it's tempting me to buy it. I haven't yet because I'm in another LCG, and that is Marvel Champions. Once again, it's another Fantasy Flight living card game. This one with the Marvel IP. I've played it twice. I enjoyed playing as Spider-Man, but man, this time around I played the Hulk and I loved it. His is all I was doing was punching the bad guy, punching him left, punching him right, throwing everything at him. Because basically with my cards, I didn't get to keep anything in my hand as long as I was the Hulk. So I just made sure I can pay for and play all my cards out there.
Yeah.
So it sucks because when I was the Hulk, I only had 4 cards in my hand that I'm only allowed to draw back up. So I had to figure out how to play it. He's also got a massive amount of health, so I could take a lot of damage. I think he's one of the highest at 17. So it was phenomenal. We played against Claw this time around instead of Rhino, which is the step up, and I had a great time. I enjoy it. It playing this other level and seeing how things change. It made it a little bit more intriguing to me. But I do have to say, I think I still prefer Arkham Horror's LCG because it's a campaign out of the box. It isn't just you're fighting the one big bad. You're playing up to the big bad. And that's what I really, really enjoy about it, to the point where I was telling you, I got the next 3 sets in my cycle. So I got the Dunwich Legacy, and then I got the 3 sets after that, the small sets, and 3 more still to be bought to finish it off. But it's my plan to get those and finish this series off and just start collecting them. And then I'm also looking at like an arts and crafts store out here, Hobby Lobby, to buy a box, because everybody recommends to get the artist box for this game. So this way you can store everything in there, because there's no way it's going to fit in this little tiny box.
Gotcha.
And then I got a buddy who's got a wood burner, so I was going to see if he could put the Arkham Horror symbol wood burned into it.
That'd be cool. Very cool. Yeah, that's so I actually played Marvel Champions this week as well. Again. And yeah, it's okay.
Yeah, I just like the card play. I like the theme on it. I have a good time with it. I just don't know if I want to make that kind of investment in it when I'm trying to catch up on Arkham Horror LCG. And the reason why I'm starting to do the Arkham Horror LCG is because Legends of the Five Ring just got discontinued. I'm like, nope, I'm going to catch up on it now before they discontinue the Arkham Horror LCG, and the prices for these stuff get skyrocketed.
Right, exactly. No, I agree. Although if I still had to pick a Marvel themed game, the only one that I'm still like really digging on is Thanos Rising.
I was going to say Thanos Rising.
Yeah, and you know how much I do actually really enjoy that one. I'm waiting for them to make a theme that I would dig more. Maybe get Star Wars. Star Wars.
Have a Star Wars one.
Huh?
They have a Star Wars one.
I know they do. That's why I'm thinking about getting it, because I do like Star Wars significantly more than Marvel. I've even considered the SpongeBob one because it actually does quite a few different things to it.
Well, the SpongeBob one is the reprint, if I remember correctly, of the Harry Potter one. It does kind of the stuff that the Harry Potter one changes from the other ones.
Gotcha. Okay.
Because you can actually fight the big bad right out. You don't have to eliminate everybody. Once you get to the big bad, you can start putting dice over onto him.
Okay. That sounds good. So I will let you choose which of the 2 games that you want me to talk about is my last one that I played. Ready?
All right.
I'll let you decide. Either Hues and Cues or it's
no, I don't need to hear the other one. Hues and Cues.
Okay. So
because I know the story behind that, and it needs to be told on a podcast.
Yes, couldn't agree more. So Hues and Cues. The other one was It's a Wonderful World. Great drafting game. Absolutely love it. Anyway, Hues and Cues, a very color-based game. They sell it at Target and a few hobby stores and whatnot. And basically you have this giant, like, massive paint palette of, I think, 480 spaces, if I'm not mistaken. You draw a card that gives you 4 colors, and it gives you the coordinates for them. And you have to give at the first round, you have to give a 1-word clue. Second round, you give a 2-word clue. The clue giver gets points for whoever is within the box. You get 1 point for each of those, or within the region, and then everybody else gets points based on how close to the correct answer they are. I excelled at this game despite being colorblind. It's ridiculous. It made no sense that I beat the other 2 guys who are not colorblind. But what I thought, and it proved what I thought was going to happen with it, because I had heard reports that it's okay for colorblind people unless you're completely grayscale, then you can. But if you're colorblind like Daniel and I, we still see the colors, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like there are some that do meld together, like certain ones that trigger other ones. But for one, it's a small gradient between the colors, so it's not you're not going to be taking a shot in the dark if it's between red and green. They're on pretty far sides of the table. But on top of that, the fact that you and I are colorblind, we can see camouflage, which is why they include camouflage people, or why they include colorblind people in the military for surveillance, is because we can actually see camo.
See it, yeah.
And because it triggers a different way for us. But that doesn't mean that the other people couldn't see that same color. So one of the ones that I did at first, I said mint, which I realize is one of the worst clues ever, because if you have peppermint, it's red. If you have spearmint, it's like teal, right?
Well,
If you have
peppermint's one word, so you could have just said peppermint.
yeah, but I didn't realize that at first. I just said mint, and then everybody went way too green for me, and I was like, wow, okay, that was completely in the dark. So my second clue, which got me the most points, was shallow ocean, and like they were like almost all the pieces right there, right spot on. It was so good. Very proud of it. The only bad part about this game, and this is a lot of like clue giving like puzzle games, you know that moment where everybody gets their card and they go, okay, here's my card.
Time's
And
up is pretty bad about that.
yep, and then there's a significant amount of time before, like enough time while people are thinking about their clue while the other people get into a conversation. That happened in almost every round. If you're okay with that, it's fine. But if you want to play like a big party game, I imagine that would be really fun. I would probably just personally give people like their cards beforehand, and then
Allowing them to think of their clues.
Yeah, kind of like the Carcassonne variant, you know.
Yeah.
You could tell at the
So
beginning.
you haven't told them the best part. Tell them how bad you beat them by.
Oh, I was like 20%. I had more points than it wasn't like a landslide or anything, but I was there were within 1 point of each other. I was about 3 or 4 points ahead. And it's a quick game. So
But the colorblind guy beat them significantly.
Yeah. It was enough where I didn't have to score points on the last turn. Like I was safe.
And Nate's calling you a cheater.
Yeah, well, I guess to his own. Daniel, I want you to try this one of these days. I might consider buying it. It was really fun.
I'll have to check it out. Cool. I've looked at it. It's just, we'll see. It's just I have a lot of issues with colors and stuff like that. So
yeah, but no, I think you would be fine with this. I mean, it works out the same way like it did with me.
All right, so let's tell the people here. Both you and me are named Daniel. We're both colorblind. We both have the same colorblindness. It's just on a different scale. I think mine is.
Yours is more red.
Yeah, mine's more red-sided. Yours is more on the green side.
Yeah.
Even though it's the same one, your green scale is worse for you. Mine's red scale.
Yeah. Yep. Exactly. So yeah, playing a game entirely based on color. It's ironic. It's fun. All right, well, let's talk about favorite games from favorite designers, because unfortunately none of the games that I talked about today, with the exception of one, I've considered one of my favorite designers. So I don't know if that's the same with you, Daniel, but any of the games you played, are they on your list for favorite designers?
A lot of these are like some of my favorite designers. Okay. My number 8 as well is a favorite designer. Some of them are like team ups, but because I went through BGG just to check out names and categories, and they're tied to these games, so that's what I went with what sure. BGG says, because we use it for pretty much most of our podcasts. That's what I went with.
That makes sense. Cool. Well, let's get started with the viewers, what they said about their favorite game from their favorite designer. Ryan started us off saying, I don't really have a favorite game designer, but I think I would probably have to go with Kevin Wilson, who I don't think has ever been part of a game I didn't really enjoy, which includes my absolute favorite game, Cosmic Encounter. It's hard to leave out so many others though, like Tristan Hall with Gloom of Killforth.
Good pick. Kevin Wilson, really nice guy, has some really good games out there. I can't deny that. Joe says Lisboa by Vito Lacerda.
Very cool. I know I have yet to play a Vito Lacerda game, and I've been wanting to.
I don't think I have either.
Yeah, they're the big, heavy, crunchy Euros. I love them. All right, Joe says, oh no, that was Joe. Casey says Joe. Rising Sun by Eric Lang.
And Ryan agrees with him. Trey says Who Goes There by Certifiable Studios. I guess it's a design group?
Yeah, I believe so. I have not heard of it either. Oh, and of course, any of our viewers joining us in the chat today, feel free to post your favorite game by your favorite designer in the chat, and we'll get to you soon. Gochi. I don't know how to
Oxy.
pronounce the name. Forgive me. Uh, Taschini for Solkin, and Lacerda for Vinos.
Hey, wait. We both have played Vinos, haven't we?
I have not played Vinos.
No, that. What is that wine game you made us play? The
The
one where
wine
you can
game?
go ahead on the line. It was a Devere.
Oh, oh yeah, it was by Devere. Lavinia
La
is
Viña. That's what I'm thinking of. Never mind. I haven't played Vinos. Amy says Bruges by Stefan Feld, a game I've been wanting to try.
yes, same here.
Should be getting it soon when it's what? Hamburg?
Yeah, when it's Hamburg. You ever thought it's like I'll get around to playing Bruges when it's Hamburg.
Hamburg.
So think about that for a minute. Mike says Castles of Burgundy, and of course that's a Stefan Feld.
And Jonathan Moy was agreeing with him, a genius of game design. We can't disagree with that. I'm happy I get to say this one. The famed Kane Klinko says Raw by Reiner Knizia.
Yeah, yeah, and we want to thank King Klenko for being out here with us. That was awesome of him.
Yeah.
We might be talking about his games later.
So I don't know about you, but did you have a little geek out? I had a little geek out moment when I saw his name on that. I'm like, wait, what?
I almost wanted to give him a shout out. It's like, hey, you should watch our podcast. There's a reason. But that's Blake. Maybe I'll just do that right now while we're talking. Hold on.
Well, while you're doing that, I'll go ahead and read the next one. Bowen says On Mar by Vito Lacerda. And Robert was agreeing with him. And so Nate in our chat was saying he wants to play Galerist and On Mars. Oh, so you're still going, so I'll go on.
Yep,
Zhao says favorite designer, Jamie Stegmeier. Favorite game from him is Scythe.
yeah.
And favorite game, Dwellings of Elderville by Luke Laurie, so he's also keeping an eye on his next designs.
And then Sean says lots of Lacerda love so far, but mine is Lacerda Kanban EV.
Now I've heard really good things about Kanban, so I do want to try that one.
Mm-hmm.
Derek was just agreeing with him, saying Lisbel is still his favorite Lacerda, but solo mode and Kanban might change that.
Right. And then Tom says Shem Phillips and Sam McDonald for me, Paladins being my top game.
I can't disagree with him. Paladins is probably my favorite of the Shem Phillip lines in Sam McDonald line.
Yeah. And then our friend Pete, before you go on, sorry, he says he wants to play the Gallerist and On Mars.
I already said that.
Oh, well, I was too busy geeking out a little bit.
Derek says Root by Cole Worrell, Anachrony by David Turtsky, and is a very close second with both regards.
Very cool. And Warren says Civilization by Francis Tresham.
Now, my question is this Civilization the Fantasy Flight games? Is it the one that has the weird CV whatever name?
It's not Civilizations. No, they would have put that.
So is this the newest one, the New Dawn, or the original?
It's a good question. I suppose that's something we can check later on BoardGameGeek.com.
All right. Dwayne says it's too early for Sleeping Gods, so he went with Near and Far by Ryan Lockett. And I can't complain with any of those. Ryan Lockett was on my short list. I don't know if I put him on my list here. It did not. Mind you, that's because I've played multiple games. Above and Below right now is my favorite, but I really want to try Near and Far because I've heard really good things about it. And I want to find Sleeping Gods. I was sad I did not get on that Kickstarter. I've heard way too many good games about it, or things about that game.
I purposely have been avoiding it.
Because
I don't want to know it's something I want.
Oh, it's something you want. It looks so good. I'm probably going to jump on like the Board Game Geek pre-order when they release it.
Fair enough. Yeah. The next one, Nick says Tainted Grail, The Fall of Avalon by Awaken Realms.
Daniel, represent, says The Gallerist by Vito Lacerda.
Quincy says Space Base by John D. Clare. Couldn't agree more. Very good choice.
Yeah, that's a really good one. It was on my short list. Jill says Bruges or Americo by Stefan Feld.
And Justin says Kingdom Death Monster by Adam Poots. And that's all I had on my end.
That's all I have on my end too. So let's move on to our list. Who's
Very
going
good.
first? Are you bringing out the Coin of Doom?
Yeah, sure. We could bring out the Coin of Doom, get it prepared for our next one as well. This is a fun one because I think you're going to be surprised by some of mine, by both the designers and the games. Honestly,
I think you're going to be surprised by some of the games that I put on this list.
okay.
Not really
So,
the designers themselves, because I've talked about them a lot, but some
all
of the
right,
games might
that's fair.
surprise you.
Some of the games might surprise you. Click below to follow. Anyway, shall we?
Yeah,
Let's
let's
start
do it.
with you, sir.
All right. So the first game on my list is one I've talked about quite a bit, but I really do enjoy it, and it is my favorite game by this designer.
Okay.
And it probably can climb further, and that's saying something because I really enjoy almost everything I played from this designer. So
Okay.
my clue for you, well, the designer is Phil Walker Harding.
Okay. Phil Walker Harding. I would have to say that my guess is archaeology.
You would be wrong, though I do dig archaeology.
Would it be
It's the one
Silver
you
and Gold?
No, it's the one you always forget about. It's the adventure games.
Oh yes. Okay. That's fair. I do
The
always
more I
forget.
Yeah, you do. The more I think about it, the more I enjoy. I've played two of them, and I've had such a phenomenal time with them. I love the little story they tell. I'm a very big sucker for story-driven campaign-style games, and this clicks on all cylinders on that for that. You get the combined cards to get new resources, or you get the combined cards to help you open new locations. You get to do these point-and-click adventures I remember growing up with back in the late 90s, early 2000s when we had computers then. And I do like gizmos, as Nate is posting out here. I've only played it in two-player, and I really don't care much for it in two-player. I like what it's doing. I need to play it more. But adventure card game, I could play with two-player. I could play with four-player. I could play solo, and I would still have a great time with this game. I love that puzzling aspect, like I was saying, using the cards to help you open locations and places you're going to go. The story is well done, and it's a really good game for something that's not super expensive. And it does have some replayability if you want to try to get like different endings and stuff like that. But for me, I just play it and I pass it on to a friend to see if he likes it.
Yeah. Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah, I'm so glad I told you about this one. I really am. And I know you're glad that I told you about this one.
Yeah. I have the Volcano waiting. I got to pick up the newest one that came out, but I really, really do enjoy these ones.
All right. Very cool. So my next one is Dr. Reiner Knizia. And this was a tricky one because I really enjoyed just
You
so
enjoy a
many
lot of
games.
his games.
I really do. There's very few times that I've bought a Reiner Knizia game that I didn't enjoy. But
Lost
this,
Cities?
huh?
Lost Cities?
It's not Lost Cities.
Okay. Raw.
It's not Raw.
Trying to think of another Knizia. Is it the dice one, the Art of War?
Nope. Age of War. Yeah. And there's a lot of others you could have said too. Like it could have been not to call. I don't think he did that one. My City. It wasn't that one. It could have been Llama. It's not that one, although that was on my list. No, this is ingenious.
I don't know if I played this one.
You haven't, and you need to. It's so good. It's an abstract strategy game where you have domino hexagon tiles. So the hexagon is made, it's like two hexagons smashed together, and they have six different symbols. And don't worry, they're shaped based on their color as well. So we're
Okay.
good. But what you're trying to do is you're trying to score the most points for those. However, when you place down a tile, you score each of the two colors. You branch out in the five other directions that it goes, and every other piece of that same color that it's touching, that's grouped together, you score a point for in that straight line. So if I place down a blue tile, and off in this direction there's three other blue tiles, well then I get 3 points for blue. And then you do the same for the other side. After you've done that, you have your scoreboard with 6 different colors and these cubes that are moving up on the scoreboard. What makes it really neat is that when you get one of them to the 18th spot, you yell ingenious and take a second turn. That's not a big deal, but this is something that he hadn't really done really before, is that your lowest scoring color is your final score at the end of the game. So you have to be good at everything, not just one thing. Anybody could be good at one of them, but you have to have the highest of your lowest score. It's absolutely brilliant. I love it. It doesn't make any sense until you play it and you're like, okay, I totally get this. This is so good. Ingenious.
I'll have to look into it. Again, I've played maybe 3 Reiner Knizia games. I've only loved one of them. So,
yep.
And luckily, it's the one I bought myself.
Yeah, I was going to be very surprised if you would have guessed this one. I'll be completely honest with you. So.
Yeah, I don't know a lot of his games either. So
far we're 0-0.
So are you.
That's what I'm saying. 0-0.
All right. So the next one on my list here, and again, I don't know about this one exactly. I know is probably if he was involved with it is when he was getting ready to leave the company and start his own. And this is Corey Konecka.
Okay.
Can you guess the game?
Outer Rim?
Yep.
1 point. I'm on the board.
Yes, so it is Outer Rim. It's easily one of my favorite Star Wars game, if not my favorite. It's been my favorite from Final Fantasy Flight games. But I don't know if I rate this above, like, say, Dark Side Rising, just because I really love that mechanism that Thanos Rising and Dark Side Rising does. But for me, this gives you that sandboxy pick up and deliver feel that you want. You can be whatever you want. You can be a bounty hunter. You can be a smuggler. You can work with the Empire. You can work with the Hutts. However you want to do it. I love that aspect. It gives me that Star Wars feels. I have a connection already to the characters in the box, so that's going to make things a lot better for me. Yeah, it's a bit lucky with the dice because it's a Fantasy Flight game, but come on, you know what you're getting into with their games. So, yeah, I don't want to harp on too much of this. I've talked about it quite a bit. I do really, really dig this game. So much so, I think I like it more than Star Wars Rebellion, even though I had a blast playing that one.
Very cool. Yeah, that is a good choice. Corey Konecka made a fun game. It's not a Firefly replacement for me yet, but I get why it is for you.
Yeah, and I do have to say this. I am intrigued by the new game that he's coming out with his company, that mystery room or theater one. It's got a great box art. I've seen like photos of it. It looks really good. I'll have to explain it to you after the podcast, but yeah, no, it's really good.
Yeah, please do. I haven't heard of that one.
You probably have if you've been watching like the Dice Tower news and stuff like that, because they've talked about it a couple times.
No, I'm busy having a life, so it's rough.
Ha! You have a life?
Good point. Solid argument. So now this next one should be a very easy point for you, Daniel. I'd be surprised if you didn't get it. It's kind of my fish in a bucket, fish in a barrel. That's the saying. And it's a friend of ours of the podcast, and that's Justin DeWitt, and he is absolutely one of my favorite designers.
So Castle Panic?
That's right, Castle Panic. I adore Castle Panic. I'm looking forward to. I'm still debating whether I want to buy the deluxe version or not because I already have it all.
You're going to buy the deluxe version.
I'm probably going to buy the deluxe version. I mean, Justin's just an all-around great guy, and
he's a great guy. Yeah,
really fun game too. I mean, like you've gotten the pleasure of talking with him too. He's just one of those people you could sit down with all day. Him and his wife too. You know, his wife is just as good of a designer as he is. You know, and they're just fantastic people. So yeah, I love Castle Panic. I'm looking forward to it. If you haven't played Castle Panic, what's wrong with you? I mean,
yeah,
really.
if you really like those tower defense games where you're trying to defend your castle without getting destroyed and just waves and waves of monsters coming at you, this is a game for you. I had a blast with it. I used to have the Munchkin version of it. Yep. I just don't own it anymore because again, I have limited space and 2 or 3 people in my game group owns this game. So It's not something I need to have.
Yeah, exactly. This is one of those games where if anybody says it's too lucky or it's too random, like play it with me. We'll knock it out. I'll show you how. You're the same kind of people that say Ticket to Ride is just too
Oh
is too.
yeah, no.
It doesn't
No,
make sense.
there is a lot of depth to this game. You have to be smart. Okay, you know what? We're gonna have to let this wall fall. We need to take care of this guy over here. You have to think about your moves and what you have in your hand and how best to use it. No, I don't disagree. There is luck. There's no denying that because you
Sure,
don't know what you're pulling out of the bag. But it's still luck that can be mitigated by what you play in your hand.
that's right. That's absolutely right. And there's been no tower defense games that I feel is as good as this
Yeah,
anymore.
no, and this has been out what 5, 6, 7 years, something like that. It's been a
Oh,
while.
much longer than that. This was like
Yeah,
maybe 10 years old.
yeah, and it's still the best tower defense game.
Yeah. I made a joke when I was
Oh,
playing.
okay, I take that back. It's not the best one.
Yes, it is. It is.
Well, Castle Panic is good. I still prefer Star Trek Panic. I know it's the same thing,
Oh,
but
okay. That's funny. Um, okay, I'll give you that. I mean, Justin is the reason I got into Star Trek. That is the one who did it. Gosh, that's funny. All right, so yeah, on to your next one. I got nowhere to
So
go.
my number 6 that I have written down here, my designer is Bruno Cathala. See if you get this one.
Abyss.
Yes.
Yeah, 2 point.
I may be the only one out of my group that really, really enjoys this game just because I love what it's doing. I love a lot of Bruno Cathala games. I like Five Tribes. I like, what is that? Yamatai. I had a good time with Yamatai.
Mhm.
And Micropolis, I love. It's still one of my favorite games. But when I go back into it and I look into it and I'm like, man, I really love Abyss. I wish there was a solo mode. That's how much I want to play this game more and more. I love the push your luck aspect of the first part where you're drawing the cards and seeing if something's going on. I like the bidding where it's like, hey, you want this card? Yeah, I'll buy it for 1 gem. Hey, no, I'll buy it for 2 gems. Okay. Those come to me. They're my pearls now. I get to use them on other people's turns when they're bidding for cards and something big comes up and I want that card because I need it for what I need to do for like the leaders or for the locations and stuff like that.
Mhm.
So I thoroughly enjoyed this game. I love where it's going. The art is amazing. And people like to ask me, well, where do you prefer, this or Aquatica? And I'm like, they play completely different. The only thing the same really is that they're underwater themed
Yep.
empires per se. So I can't compare them. That's like comparing apples to oranges. I really love the game. I wish I really do need to get the most recent expansion that came out. It took a while for it to come to America, and that makes where the warfare becomes a much more plausible way to win if you do go after those eels and the monsters and stuff like that coming out. So I think that one's Kraken or Leviathan. I get the two mixed up, so I'm not sure.
Cool. Yeah, I might need to try this one again. I did enjoy it. I just don't
Yeah,
remember
no,
really any of it. Yeah.
yeah, I dig it. I have a great time with it.
All right. My next one. You ready for the guess?
Well, I need the designer first.
Uwe Rosenberg.
Ooh, ooh. Now
Ooh.
I'm gonna need some way on this because there's two that are popping in my mind. Is it a heavier or is it lighter?
Nope. You're just gonna have to go for it.
All right, so my first guess is Bonanza.
Got it. Yep. God, I love Bonanza. Oh my goodness, it's so good. Yeah, he's one of my favorite designers because of the card game, not because of his board game. I love what he does. I so much to the point I have another game from him called Bargain Hunter, and it has the ugliest cartoon like cheap TV like washing machine on the front, and it's ugly art, and it looks awful, but it has his name on it, and that's why I bought it. And I imagine it's probably decent now because I've seen what he can do with card games, and Bonanza is the perfect example of that. I can't encourage you enough to play Bonanza. If you haven't gotten a chance to, you need to try it. It's so good.
What
Yeah,
I really like about Bonanza, and I have to agree with you, this is a great pick. It probably would have been my pick if he was on my list.
yeah,
Is the way the cards work that you can't shift them, so you're trying to trade cards out this way you can get them together to put them on the field.
yeah,
I find that phenomenal.
yeah. I mean, but if you were to break down the whole turn, the thing he does that he put in that game incentivizes you to essentially push your luck in a really weird way because
Hmm.
you're planting up to 3 farms at a time, and they can only have one type. At the beginning of your turn, you play 1 or 2 cards from the front of your line. Then you have 2 cards that you have to deal with at that point. So you can trade, or you can just give to somebody, or you can take and plant in your field if they're one of the same types, or if you want to replace one. All of that's fine. That gives so much good dialogue between all the players. And then after you've done that, you draw 3 cards and add them to the back of your hand before you get to sell. So you have 3 cards to the back of your hand. You're like, that chili bean is now there. If I just wait one more turn, I might be able to get even more point. Every time you play this, you're constantly like at that internal struggle. Like, do I want to take this or not? I don't know. Like, it's so good. I absolutely adore Bonanza. I couldn't tell you enough how much I like it. So
Yeah.
Bonanza.
So my other pick would have been Caverna or Agricola. I don't know which one you prefer out of those two. Also surprised the Havre isn't on your list.
I like them both. Yeah, the Havre is really fun. Caverna's really fun. Agricola is really fun.
But I can't fault you for Bonanza.
Yeah, they don't hold a candle to Bonanza. They really don't.
Surprisingly, my wife didn't care for Bonanza. You and me dig it. I don't know if our wives do.
No, I don't think my wife would like it that much.
No, she didn't dig it because we played it together. The reason why I fell in love with it, you and me had fun with it. Our wives were just like, this is boring.
Yeah, that's true. And you and me were just like giggling. Yeah, I got chili beans. So ridiculous.
All right. So the next game on my list, I'm gonna have to see if you get this one because it's quite different. But the designer, and that's Rob Davio.
Ah, yes, Rob. Ooh, are you gonna say? I'm gonna guess it's Betrayal Legacy.
It is Betrayal Legacy. I'm surprised you actually picked up on that one.
Oh, because I knew you liked Legacy games, and I knew out of all of your Legacies were the favorite, and you really had a great time with Betrayal.
Oh, I love Betrayal Legacy. I like Pandemic Legacy. The reason why Unmatched isn't on this list is because it's the other designer that's attached to it who's done most of the work. He's even explained that to us when we talked to him. So that's why I was like, okay, I'm not going to put Unmatched on here, or else I would have. But because he even says, my name's just on it because I originally designed the game, but I can't remember the other guy's name is because it's not on my boards over there. But yeah, he's the main designer for that. So for this one, I went with Betrayal Legacy. It's a phenomenal game. I've already liked Betrayal on the House on the Hill. There was some flaws with it, I'm not going to lie. But, oh man, does this the memories just for this game alone. And the more and more I think upon it, yeah, this is my favorite Legacy of the game that I've played so far. I'm still in Charterstone and other things that have been put on hold because, the whole COVID situation.
Yeah.
But yeah, I really dug this one. I've had a great time playing it. I love the changes that were made. I know it's some of the changes from the second edition of Betrayal or third edition, something like that, where the way the haunt activates now, rather than trying to meet how many up there if you roll this number, that's how the haunt's going to decide.
Yeah.
And so I love that. It's a really good game. It doesn't get talked a lot when it comes to like the legacy games. Everybody's always talking about like the pandemics, or they're talking about Seafall for a whole different reason.
Yeah.
But this one, if you like Betrayal on the House on the Hill, I think you would dig it. If you're okay with Betrayal on the House on the Hill, I think you'd still dig this one just because of some of the stuff that's going on. If you thoroughly hate Betrayal on the House on the Hill and can't stand it, I say stay away from this one. I don't think you're going to have as much fun because at its core, it's still Betrayal on the House on the Hill. Another thing I liked about this one, it added outside, and so you had like 3 or 4 floors plus outside, so you're flipping tiles over. There's a lot going on. It's phenomenal. I really enjoyed it. And you know what hooked me? Was the first haunt. The first haunt. And it's like, I don't want to spoil it, but it's just like, wow. That hooked me. And I really had a good time with it. And I like about this one is that it's easy for people to drop in and out. So if someone misses a game, you could still play it and their family can come back after a generation. And I really dug that.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. That it's so good. It's up there with one of my favorite Legacy experiences of all time. Easily up there.
To the point where there's a whole component in there and it tells you, hey, you got to come up with something for this whenever you take it out. And we still had a blast doing that from when it first happened to when it ended.
Yeah, every
I
time.
think it's still sitting in my fireplace ready to be destroyed.
I was gonna ask if it was still there. Goodness. Okay. Let's divert just in case.
And one more thing, I do have to mention this because it just popped in my head. What I really, really liked about it is we finished it on the week of Halloween.
Yes. Yeah, which made it even better, right?
Yeah.
We made a point of that. All right, my next one is one of the reasons why I felt one of our commenters needed to view this video. And that's because actually Kane Klenko is one of my favorite designers. Now the question is for you, Daniel, which of his games is my favorite?
Well, there's only 3 that I know that you have played because we played those together. I don't know about any of the other ones. I'm guessing you're going to go with the pandemic version one?
Nope.
Is it Fuse?
Nope.
Then I don't know.
That it is. Where is it? Where is it on my shelf? I can't even find it. Anyway, it's Dead Men Tell No Tales.
Oh, yeah. I blocked this one out of my head because I don't like this game.
It doesn't seem like it's a first of King Klenko, but no, it's so good.
It's that card game, right? The pirate card game, like if you pushing your luck.
No, you're thinking Dead Man's Draw. Dead Men Tell No Tales. Okay, it's right over here. I don't think it's even visible. Oh no, it's barely visible on the screen. It's the cooperative one where you're going onto the burning pirate ship with ghosts.
Oh, that is his.
That is
no,
King.
yeah, no, I know. If I had remembered that was his, then yeah, that game is amazing.
Yeah. Although Flatline was up there too. Flatline is probably my next in line. It was.
See, I thought it was going to be the pandemic one because you really dug that when we played it.
I did. I just can't get it to the table again. That gets you're the only other person who's going to play a cooperative speed game with me. Who knew? Although Flip Ships is also up there too because Flip Ships is super solid.
See, I never played that one.
Oh man, he has a newer one, Cosmic something. It's by Gigamic Games. It's about planets and stuff. I really want to get that. In fact, maybe I'll order it tonight. I don't know. We'll see. That'll be my next one. But King Klenko, Dead Men Tell No Tales. On to you, sir.
Okay. Well, you didn't even really explain Dead Men Tell No Tales. We went through all his other games.
Cooperative game. You're going onto a pirate ship. You've been forced by the pirate captain to aboard this burning down, sinking ship that is also haunted with ghosts because there's not enough problems with it. It is an incredibly difficult game. Fire spreads really well. They represent it with dice on there, and you have different stats that you can get. You can get rum or weapons or whatever, and try and fight the different ghosts and skeletons, basically trying to find the treasure. Your goal is to get enough treasure to be allowed back onto the original pirate ship to appease the captain and then not
who, by the way, doesn't join us on the sinking ship.
Yeah. Who doesn't join us? Of course not. That would just be too easy. Oh man. If we do another board game breakdown soon, we should invite Kane Klenko on because I would love to talk to him about his game design ideas. I love him. I haven't played one of his that I.
No, I liked it. I forgot Dead Men Tell No Tales was his. Wow. Yeah. All right, so here's the part of the list where these are pretty much layups for you the rest of the way.
Okay.
And these are specifically ranked out of my favorite games, like which one I like more at the top. So number 4 is Eric Lang.
Oh, it's not Rising Sun. It's right? It's not Rising Sun, is it?
It is.
Okay. 4 points so far.
It's my go-to dudes on the map game. It is one of my favorite games of all time, and it is my favorite Eric Lang. I like Blood Rage. I really enjoyed Death May Die. What else has he done? I haven't played the others. He's made several others. Some card games. I think Warriors was one. I think he was kind of attached to Dice Masters because it's based off of Warriors.
No, he made both of them. Absolutely.
Yeah. So, but Rising Sun, man, this is probably my favorite game of his. It's got great plastic because it's a command game. It has everything. I have everything for it. I have all the expansions. I got it in that one grandiose Kickstarter. I got the play mat. Beautiful art, beautifully produced. But beyond all that, there is phenomenal gameplay. I love the strategizing, how you're going to work with someone else when you make an alliance. When do you break that alliance? If you break that alliance, how you set yourself up for this next part of the round where you're going into combat. Because at its heart, it's an area control game. And you're trying to do these battles in these certain areas because these are the only areas that are going to score. I could set myself up to be very powerful in this one area because I know in the next round it's when it's going to score, or I can go all in and fight to try to get my points. But here's the twist. It's blind bidding how the combat's going to work. So if you have money, you could place that money how you want to do it. Do you just eliminate all your guys on the map and get points from having them just die honorably by their own hand?
Yeah.
Do you capture someone else's thing to decide who wins by taking over one of their Onis by like, oh no, this guy's under arrest now? And it does so many different things on just a combat alone. Oh, I'm going to hire some Ronin by using my coins to make it easier for me to fight, or I'm going to use my Ronin to make it easier for me to fight. No, phenomenal game. I really love the twists and the turns that you can do. And the honor track. So if I'm low on the honor track, I want to get one of the Onis that gives me more power the further down I'm on that honor track. It's phenomenal. I really do dig this game.
Very cool. Awesome. Yeah, no, that's a good choice. He's not on my list, but have you ever met him in person?
No, I have not. Oh, I take that back. I have met him in person at a con, the big one, but I just more in passing, like, hey, how you doing, and walking by.
Yeah. He's crazy tall.
Well, a lot of them are crazy tall. Tom Vassell is a lot taller than I thought he was going to be.
Yeah, Rado.
Rado is tall. Eric Lang is tall. There was a couple others. I'm like, I'm 6 foot and they tower over me.
Oh yeah, yeah. Like and you're taller than I am, and oh goodness.
And then I met Z Garcia, and he's like, dude.
Yeah, because Z Garcia is my height. It doesn't come off that way in the videos, but man, yeah, no kidding. All right, my next one. These ones I think you're actually going to be a little surprised by. Not by the designers, but by which games I picked. And that's the next one is Phil Walker Harding.
Ooh, which one you pick on his? Because you dig a lot of his games.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to take my stab at it and say Gizmos.
Nope.
You see, you really dig that one. All right, so, huh?
I do. You're right.
Is it Emotep?
Nope.
Wow, it's going to be one of the smaller ones then. Then it's got to be Silver and Gold.
Nope.
Wow. Oh, it's Gingerbread House.
Nope.
Then then I don't know.
I'll give you a clue. It's right next to Gingerbread House.
All I see is Gingerbread House. I know it's not Barron Park.
It is Barron Park. Absolutely. It's
really?
Barron. Yes. Yes.
See, I thought that was like your least favorite of his.
No. I love Barron Park.
It's not one I heard you talk about.
Yeah. No, it was the one that put Phil Walker Harding on the map for me, personally.
Well, yeah, Barron Park was the one that put Phil Walker for me as well.
Yeah.
But the adventure games just kind of took a whole new turn for me.
Yeah, no, I agree. Because I have the adventure games. I have just about every other game that he's made. I own Archaeology. I own all those. Barron Park is where it's at. It's 100% a perfect example of how he designs games. He takes a very simple concept, boils it down to the most concentrated version of what it can be. Incredibly simple. All you're doing is placing a tile, taking some tiles. That's it. And that alone is enough to make this game absolutely incredible. Barron Park is one of the best games ever. It's a polyomino game for those of you who don't know it. You have a little plot of land, you're building a bear zoo, and you place a tile. If you place it over some symbols, you get to take other tiles from the board. Those tiles can be anywhere from smaller like toilets or porta potties all the way up to like big, massive 5-piece strange
Playgrounds,
weird tiles that are worth
bears.
way more points if you're able
Mhm.
to fit them onto your map. Very simple. So incredibly simple. So good. Oh my goodness. Yes, Baron Park is my favorite for Walker hunting game. Easily.
Yeah,
I
see,
want to
this
play it
was
right now.
actually going to be my number two, and then just the more and more I thought about it, because I'm like, all right, my top three are Archaeology, Baron Park. It's the one I don't own of his. Well, that and Emotep and stuff like that, but
Yeah.
Baron Park, yeah, no, it's a phenomenal game. I just you never really talk about it because you've always talked about like Gingerbread House and how you really like that one and Silver and Gold and stuff like that. So I'm like, would he put Baron Park? I thought that it's not one you talk about a lot.
Yeah. Yeah. It doesn't get enough love, honestly.
Not from you, everybody else I talked to.
Yeah, not for me apparently. No, I adore that game. It's never gonna leave my collection, I don't think.
No, I can't disagree with you there. So, all
Cool.
right, here's my number three, and here's another toss up for you. I think you're going to get the next three. So,
Okay.
number three is Stefan Feld.
Okay. That would be Castles of Burgundy.
Yes, I do need to play Trajan more to see if it does usurp Castles of Burgundy. I really do enjoy Trajan, but yeah, Castles of Burgundy right now is still my favorite. What's there to say that hasn't already been said? It's a phenomenal game. Even as a multiplayer solitaire game, you're still engaged with what's going on, depending on what goods are out there, what dice you want to roll, or did someone take that ocean tile that you really need to help you move on the player board once you get it out there, or to be able to go first somewhere else. My only complaint for this game is it needs a better color palette, but other than that, it's a phenomenal game. There's a reason why it was just massive when we did the top 8 debate, Stefan Feld games, where it won by like 130 votes over other games. So,
Yeah.
yeah, Castles of Burgundy, my favorite Stefan Feld.
Very cool. Good choice. My next one is by Prospero Hall.
Horrified.
Yes, sir. Horrified. It was actually really close. I considered push because I
Well,
really
it's
enjoyed.
funny because for Stefan Feld, it was really close. I did consider Trajan. One of those things is I really need to play it more. So.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree. No, Horrified, what more can be said about it? We talk about it all the time on this podcast.
Mhm.
If you listen to this podcast, you probably have a good chance within like every one to three episodes, you've heard us talk about Horrified.
Yeah, no, it's a phenomenal game.
Yeah, I don't want to belabor it any longer than I need to. If you've heard our podcast, you know how much we love Horrified. It's one of the best co-op games ever. Yeah, check it out.
All right, so my number two on this list is Jamie Stegmeier.
Ah, yes. And that would be not Wingspan. It would be, ooh, is it Scythe?
Nope.
No, what am I saying? What am I saying? It's the wine game. Why did I not remember that right off?
Yes, it is Viticulture.
It's
Viticulture is my favorite worker placement game. So the fact that I'm a huge Jamie, in fact, Viticulture is what really put Jamie Stegmeier on my map. I played Scythe before it, but everybody is saying, hey, this is a phenomenal, especially if you get the Essential Edition, this is a phenomenal worker placement game. And we went and picked it up, or I picked it up when we did one of our board game runs in Tucson. And I was like, I just fell in love with it. I was very enamored. I picked up the expansion for my birthday with some gift certificates that I had. And I love it. It's engine building, worker placement, trying to get your cards to fall right. When is the good time to start planting your plants and resourcing them, and then trying to get them aged. Oh, excuse me, playing your what are they called? The guests. Get those cards played right, making sure nobody blocks you out. But hey, I got the Grande worker, so if I have to, I can muscle myself into a position even if it's locked out.
Yeah.
Phenomenal game. It's a Stonemaier game, so it's really well produced. I recommend this game to a lot of people. And a big thing is it's a theme at the time that didn't really have a lot going on. Now you have the Lacerda game that we were talking about, Lavinios, and then the one we were just talking about from Devere.
Lavinia.
Lavinia, and then yeah. So there's a lot more winemaking games, but this is the first one that really came to memory for me, and I still really, really dig this. I have a great time with it. The Tuscany expansion, the expanded board, is something I really enjoy playing with. So yeah, this had to go on my list. Surprisingly, though, it didn't get my number one because there's one game that has actually bumped it out of my top 3.
Yeah, that's I'm curious to see that one. And I remember the day that we bought this one, or that you bought this. I remember we took that trip, and I was planning like, well, maybe I'll get this game, maybe I'll get this game, and you saw that, and you're like, I'm happy, I'm done. Like, I'm not gonna buy anything else. I don't need to. This is it. And
And
you,
honestly, we went to 2 other stores, and I still didn't find anything else I wanted, so I was glad I picked it up.
yeah, no, you had it. I'm pretty sure the entire drive back to our hometown, you had it in your lap, and you were just grinning from ear to ear.
Yeah, I was happy.
And
Especially because at the time, the Essential Edition was technically out of print. They were still getting more to come in.
Yeah.
But I didn't really get it. And the fact that I found it there for trading in some games that weren't going to get played to a game that is in my top 5 board games of all time, I can't complain.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, my next one. This is gonna be a tough one for you. You ready? Stefan Feld.
This is going to be a tough one. I'm going to take a stab at it. I'm going to say Amerigo.
Nope.
Yeah, you were really enamored with that one. So
I really like Amerigo. It's really good.
Castles of Burgundy?
No.
Trajan?
No.
Yeah, which one have you played that we both like? That would be your favorite. Is it Bonfire?
Nope.
Okay, I give up because there's too many games to list, and you love all of them.
I do. I'll give you one very strong hint. You haven't played this one yet.
Really? Bora Bora.
Nope. I haven't played that one either. I'm good. I'm working on it.
I don't know then.
Castles of Tuscany.
Oh, Tuscany. Well, I wasn't wrong. Burgundy is basically a re-implement, or Tuscany's a re-implementation of Burgundy.
It's
It's
so
a new.
good. It's not because it's new that I played it recently this week, and that was the definitive moment of why it gives me all of the joy that Burgundy does as well, but in a quarter of the time. It's a 45-minute game, like just strong choices with the level of difficulty that Ticket to Ride has. Imagine a Ticket to Ride level, and you know how much I like gateway games. Like I prefer
Oh
gateway
yeah.
games. And I already knew that Stefan Feld could make lighter games because I played his 2-player ones and his much lighter board games, and I knew it was in him. And then when he made a gateway version of Castles of Burgundy, I honestly, it's hard to compare the two. Castles of Burgundy is just kind of overwrought now compared to, like, I will gladly pick Castles of Tuscany over it almost any day.
Interesting, because I've heard mixed reviews on this. Some people really, really dig Castles of Burgundy, and then some people really hate. Those who dig Burgundy hate Tuscany. So it's just like, and then there's others who are okay with Burgundy, and they would still choose it over Tuscany. So I'm just like,
yeah, no,
I don't know how it'd feel.
I mean, I know you like gateway games too. You know, like you're more of a Ameritrash gamer. You know, I get that, but like. You can appreciate a good like Ticket to Ride or a good Carcassonne.
Oh yeah, no, I think I have more Euro games now in my collection than Ameritrash, so
yeah,
it shows how I've evolved.
I think a lot of the people who say that they don't like Castles of Tuscany, the only reason they say that is because they love Castles of Burgundy so much, and I get that because I love them both, but I'm okay with a lighter game, and I like being able to play with my family who wouldn't like Castles of Burgundy. I like being able to sit down with my wife and play Castles of Tuscany and enjoy the same reason why I like Castles of Burgundy the same way, but enjoy it with my family. Oh my God. Yeah, it's so good. Daniel, I can't wait for you to try it. You really need to. I want to play it over the phone right now, like over the podcast. I bust it out right now. It's right over here. I can see it. It's in my bag. I'm seeing it through the bag.
Speaking of Castles of Burgundy and stuff like that, I got some laminated stuff so we can start doing over Zoom call rolling rights.
Very good. I'm down 100%. But yet that is not my number one.
Yeah. Speaking of number one, my number one has already been mentioned. It is a
By
crossover
me?
now. Yeah.
Oh, Prospero Hall. Yes. Okay. And I bet it's the same game too.
It's Horrified.
Horrifying.
I thought
Yep.
of a couple others, but Horrified it jumped. It was the first game I thought of or up there. I'm like, well, Prospero Hall's going to get on the list. What game am I going to put it? Because anything Prospero Hall comes up with, I'm looking forward to. I want to try. I want to get out there. They just announced a new one. Can't remember what it was, but I'm like, that looks good. I'll have to try it. But yeah, Horrified, Universal Monsters. It's my go-to Halloween game that I'm also willing to play outside of Halloween. I really think it needs an expansion. I don't know what it would be, but I just want more. You don't even have to, give us new monsters like the Blob or something like that. Give us new monster cards that changes up how they play. Give us new end goals to defeat said monsters and stuff like that, because you got all those sequels that the monsters do different things in the sequels. I think it would work.
Yeah.
And or as I said, I think it was last week we were talking about it, give me a Horrified Legacy. Just imagine
Oh,
you
yeah.
have like your monster of the week, you defeat them, and there's like, oh wait, but there's a bigger bad. Oh wait, but there's more. Yeah, no,
Yeah.
I would have a blast playing a legacy version of this, a campaign version of this. Give us something that changes it up slightly. I would have phenomenal time. Horrified.
I could see after every envelope you open, it's like it says the end, or is it?
Is it?
Dot dot dot. I can totally see that campy style.
Just imagine the Easter eggs that they can put into this. Just when you open the first game of Horrified, it comes out and it gives you that warning that you would get in the Frankenstein movie. Like, has frightening moments in it, viewer beware and stuff like that. I'm like, imagine the Easter eggs they could do in a legacy version of this.
Oh yeah. Oh, absolutely. All right, and my last one. I bet you can guess the designer though. We did talk about him earlier.
Did
It's
we
not a
now?
crossover, though. Yeah, we did. I played one of his other games.
Oh, that really helps because that was an hour ago. Like, I remember when that happened.
It was also from 1968.
Oh, it's Sid Saxon.
Sid Saxon, yeah. All right, so now the question is, which of Sid Saxon's games is my favorite?
Well, I would have said, I don't know if this is 1968, but I would have said Can't Stop.
It's 1980s, and yes, you are right. Can't stop. It's so good. It's on a stop sign. Plastic stop sign is the board, or a mountain on some versions. It's some cones, 4 dice, and a stop sign. That's all you're playing with. It makes no sense. And it easily is one of the best games with one of the worst expansions, hands down. Because
I've heard some bad things about that expansion. So
that expansion is so dumb. I mean, I haven't played it, granted. Maybe I'll eat my own words and buy it anyway, just because of how much I love it. But it looks so bad. It's so god awful. But the game itself, it's the best push your luck game for 2 to 4 players, hands down. Because you are pushing your luck to the point where everybody else is rushing, everybody else is going for the points, and it's not impossible to win on the first turn. I've never seen it. I'm sure it could technically happen, and I've always kind of aimed for it. It is so good.
I can't argue this point. I really do enjoy Can't Stop. So
no, have you played the Express version? Can't Stop Express?
No, I haven't.
It's a roll and write. I included it in our packet of roll and writes. We'll have to play that for sure. It makes some very interesting stuff. And our friend Dice Chucks,
you do have it though. I do have it.
Yes.
You did give me a sheet, so I have it laminated now. Yep. We'll have to try it.
Ooh, very cool. Yeah, we'll play it for sure. Our friend Dice Chuck says, my niece and nephew are ages 10 and 12 and are addicted to 3 Dragon Ante. Cool. We're going to be talking about the kids' games here just shortly.
It's shortly, yeah. We're finishing up our Chits and Giggles topic.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, no, I can't. I can't. Huh?
What are some others that cross your mind?
Well, of course, Gloomhaven, just because it's my favorite game. Stefan Feld, like I said, Trajan, but Merlin's getting up there. I do need to play some more of it, but I really dug it when we did play it.
I thought Kramer and Kiesling. I thought both of them, but
yeah, I don't play enough of theirs that really. Juve Rosenberg Bonanza would have made my list as well.
Mhm.
if I put them on there.
Yeah, yeah. There's quite a few. Oh my goodness, there's some brilliant games.
Yeah,
I
it would have been a lot easier if we did like our favorite games from our favorite publishers, because a lot of the designers I've ever only played one of their games so far that I can think of.
right, exactly. I also considered the designer of Echidna Shuffle, Chris Gould. He's up there. I do like Buccaneer Bones quite a bit. There's something fun about that. Maybe we
Mm,
should do a top 8 debate for dice games and see how many. Have we done that already?
I don't think we have.
That's an
It'd be
option.
interesting, but let's finish this one before we can get onto
Yeah.
the top 8 debate.
All right. Well, this has been a fun topic. I think you learned some things about me, Daniel, that I think you were surprised with.
No, I wasn't really surprised with it.
I knew you were going to be surprised about Castles of Tuscany.
That was a surprise.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. Do you have any other things to say before we let our viewers go for this episode?
Not particularly, but as always, like what you like. Just don't be mean to other people about what they like.
Yeah, absolutely.
I want to say something else about that, but I got to keep this family friendly.
Absolutely. Hey, we're about to talk about children's games next episode. That's gonna be fun. We're gonna debate about kids' games. We are not the market for this. Oh my goodness, do we enjoy them? Anyway, yeah. Well, with that being said, if you ever want to join us, like our friends Dice Chuck or Nate who joined us earlier, please do so. Join us live at twitch.tv/everydayboardgames.
You can also find all video re-uploads of these videos on YouTube at Everyday Board Games 2020. And if you find this there and like what you see, go ahead and give us a like and a subscribe. It helps us grow on the platform. As well as you can find all audio versions on most podcast platforms under Everyday Board Games Podcast. This includes Spotify, Google, Amazon Music, and Podbean. And we're still in the process with iTunes. I know I've been saying that a lot, but they don't like our photo for some reason, so they're being pains.
Yeah, it happens. And if you have ideas for future topics that you would like to see us debate about or discuss on our Chits and Giggles topics, please email us at everydayboardgames2020@gmail.com.
You can also get in contact with us at Twitter at our official Twitter account, EBG Podcast.
And so I want to thank you so much for tuning in. As always, I've been Daniel.
And I've been Daniel.
And we want to thank you for listening to Everyday Board Games.
Have a good one.